what's up guys? I've been using this MacBook Pro M4 Pro as my daily video editing machine, and this is my honest review of this machine. So before that I was using the Acer Predator, which has a i5 10th generation CPU and RTX 2060 graphics card, and it was a solid machine. I use it for almost 4 years now, but in the final year it started to feel slow. I cannot edit 4K videos on that and the export was taking a lot of time. Then I finally decided to upgrade and then I bought this. On the first day I just did a same video export on both the machines, and the MacBook Pro was actually 8 times faster. 8 times. That was a reality. That time I'm realizing, oh my god, this is so powerful. And that's how it all started. So as you can see, I'm using the 14-inch model, the 14-inch MacBook Pro M4 Pro with 10 cores of CPU and 16 cores of GPU. So that means from the Air it has an additional 6 cores of GPUs. That's the difference between the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air. This is a base version of M4 Pro. So I have 24 GB of RAM and 512 GB of SSD. Now let's start with the build quality. The build quality is premium. This is one of the best laptop with the best build quality you can get in the market actually. And talking about the trackpad, nowadays almost 90% of the time I'm using the trackpad. Even though I do have a mouse, I used to use mouse all the time, but after using the trackpad of the Mac, I cannot go back to mouse completely because the trackpad is really good and the keyboard is good enough. We have enough clicks and everything, but I think always a mechanical keyboard is going to be better. Talking about the display, this is a almost 3.5K mini LED 120Hz display. So what is mini LED? Mini LED is basically like an OLED. It has the deep blacks just like an OLED, and you cannot see a difference between an OLED with a mini LED because it is that good, and the color accuracy is pretty good as well. So the display wise, this is 99% on the top level itself, and one of the best you can get in the market. Of course there are some OLED displays, those are also good, but you cannot complain a MacBook Pro display. Now let's talk about the speakers. Oh my god, that was another surprise for me. I mean, the speakers, I couldn't tell whether it is coming from a laptop. I was that much surprised when I compared to the Predator, because I'm not using my Bluetooth speaker anymore because this one is really good. Watching movies, I use internal speakers. While editing basic videos, I use the internal speakers. It's that good actually. And now let's talk about the M4 Pro. So if you want to compare it with a Windows laptop, the 16-core GPU is like an RTX 4070 or a 4080. It's that powerful. So editing 4K videos, not an issue. Exporting hundreds of raw images in Lightroom, not an issue. And it has 2 fans. That's the difference between Air and MacBook Pro. The Air doesn't have any fans, and the MacBook Pro has 2 fans, and the fan only turned on like maybe 10 to 15 times since I bought this. Been almost 1 year now. It usually kicks on when I'm exporting a 5 or 10 minute YouTube video, or if I'm exporting like hundreds of Lightroom raw images. So I'll show you my editing workflow. For my work I mainly use DaVinci Resolve Studio, and photos I use Lightroom and Photoshop. Scrubbing through the timeline is extremely smooth. Even exporting 4K project is pretty fast. At some point I even opened 5 4K timelines at the same time, and this machine handled it without any lag. That's the level of performance we are talking about. 5 4K timelines at the same time. So when it comes to the battery life, if you are using only web browsing or watching some movies, playing some music, it can last the entire day without any problem. And if you start editing videos without plugging it, it will last 4 to 8 hours, maybe depends on the load of the project. If it is small project, yes, easily you can do 6 to 8 hours of video editing on this on a single charge. If you are not using such softwares, this will last forever. But I usually keep it on my desk with an external monitor connected to it. I always use it while charging the MacBook. Sometimes I just drain the battery and fill it back up. So this display is a 2K 120Hz Acer display, and I always use external monitors because I need the real estate for editing the videos. Talking about the ports, we have 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports, 1 HDMI port, 1 MagSafe charging port, 1 SD card slot, and 1 headphone jack. And we don't have any USB-A ports. That's one of the problems. But this Thunderbolt 5 is extremely fast, and the transfer speed is 120 GB per second. I'll say that again. It is 120 GB per second. That is too fast, and you need a Thunderbolt 5 SSD for that. Because I have just the 512 SSD, I use external SSD all the time for editing all the videos. For that, as you can see, I have a Jugaad setup here. I attached the Velcro behind my SSD and the USB hub, so they stick to the back of the MacBook Pro and the cables don't hang around everywhere. It's not the prettiest solution, but it works really well. And I can use it while placing it on my lap, editing the videos sometimes. So that's how I edit the videos. It's a Jugaad setup, but it works for me. Maybe I need to find a different solution in the future. Now let's talk about macOS versus Windows. I am an Android fan. I used to have a Windows laptop as well. Still I'm using an Android phone, but the macOS is insane. Once you're used to macOS, you can't go back. It's that good. I'm sorry it's going to hurt Windows people, but when I try using Windows now, I feel like this is outdated. The problem with Windows laptop is it's not their specs, it's the Windows is the problem, I feel, because they have pretty good specs, but Windows is not as much as optimized compared to macOS. macOS just feels more polished and flowing. It flows very well with the ecosystem. And when it comes to the cons, no laptop is perfect. The biggest con for this laptop is gaming. You cannot play all the games on Mac because only like a 10% of the games are supported in Mac. But the supported games do play really good, like the Cyberpunk and all. So my final verdict is, if you are someone working as a video editor, graphic designer, web developer or an animator, this is one of the best laptops you can get. Depends on your workload, you can choose which of the chips you want to take. Now we have M5, M5 Pro or M5 Max. Depends on the work you do, you can configure your chip and your RAM. Also, if you are not planning to play games on this machine, because this is not for that. It's fast, it's polished, it's silent, it has a nice display, it gets all the job done, and this is one of the most all-rounder laptop you can get. And all of my Windows fanboys out there, try out macOS for one time and just see the other side of the world as well. That's my MacBook Pro review after using it for 1 year now. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. And if you like this video, drop a like, leave a comment and subscribe to see more videos like this. And thanks again for watching. Peace.